So I just picked up some food from Panda Express because we're gonna be doing a mukbang. I feel like the lighting's a little off here. Let me try to find another spot. Picked up some chow mein, some grilled chicken teriyaki, sauce on the side, or not, because they didn't give me my sauce on the side. Thanks a lot, girl, in the drive-thru. But I've been wanting to do this mukbang, well, at least a video like this, for a really long time. I've been wanting to do something where I talk to you guys a little bit more about my experience with birth control. You guys always ask me, like, am I on birth control? Why am I not on birth control? Just my experience in general. And before I start this video, I do want to make a disclaimer, just because I know people are very sensitive about this topic, but I'm speaking for myself, for my own personal experience, why I actually am against birth control. So you guys already know my title of this video. I've told you guys on Twitter, I am not a fan of birth control, and that is just my personal opinion. So if you guys want to know why, then keep watching. If you guys are already offended, or if you guys, you know, are gonna like chew me out about this, then just exit out of this video already. Because I just know there's a lot of people who are very, you know, particular about this topic, and they get offended if people say like, no, don't do birth control. But by all means, I am not saying don't do it or anything like that, okay? So I just want to make sure that I put that disclaimer out there. But so I started using birth control. I actually have tried it. I started my period, we'll take it back to like when I hit puberty, okay? So I started my period at 10 years old. I don't know if any of you guys knew that, if I've ever talked about it before, but I started my period very young. I was a child, I was a little girl, and I started my period very young. But thankfully, I have always been very on point. If you guys watched my last mukbang where I was talking to you guys about how I got pregnant, I told you guys that my whole life I've always had a very tracked period. I get my period for 5 days straight. My first 2 days are absolutely horrible. I suffer from really bad cramps. But I get my period literally every 28 days. I get my period every 28 days, not every 30 days. Literally, it's on the spot every single month. I knew I was pregnant with Max because I didn't get my period. Like, I never miss a period. My period is always on track, and that's something that not everybody has, you know, the privilege of, I'm guessing. I don't know if it's a privilege, like, I don't even know what the word is, but not everybody has their period every month. And unfortunately, a lot of people struggle with it, my niece included. You guys already know that. My niece Yvette is somebody who struggles with getting a period. So that is definitely where birth control would be important. That's a completely different subject. So when I got my period really young, I used to suffer from cramps really bad, and I had heard that the only way to get like less cramps for you to be like, I guess, having a lighter period is by getting on birth control. So I would tell my mom all the time, like, can I get on birth control? Can I get on birth control? She was like, no, because, you know, I was so young. So it wasn't until I was maybe about 15 or 16 when I took it upon myself to get on birth control. And I did it obviously behind my mom's back. I didn't want her to know. I wasn't even having sex, okay? Like, I just wanted to be on birth control because I would even miss school sometimes. I would miss school. I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't even go to work because I was literally, I get cramps to the point where I can't even get out of bed sometimes. And it was worse when I was younger. Now I guess it's a little bit more bearable, and I never like to take like Midol or like anything like that. So I would really get cramps. So I got on birth control, and honestly I loved it. I didn't have any problems. I got like the lowest dose. I need to eat. I got the lowest dose that you could like you could even get, that anybody could prescribe to you. And the reason I got the lowest dose is because I also get migraine attacks. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I get really bad headaches. Like I get migraine attacks. I will see flashing lights, and then my head will start hurting. I get 72-hour migraine attacks, which means that my headaches last for 72 hours straight, and I will have to go to the emergency room or to the doctor sometimes to get a shot so it can, you know, go away. That's something that I've suffered for a really long time. Remember when I told you guys that I actually got Botox on the side? That was supposed to also help, aside from making me look cute, that was supposed to also help with my migraines. And it hasn't been like a drastic change or anything, but I don't really get them as often as I normally do. But I got on birth control, and my doctor told me that when you're on birth control, if you don't tell somebody that you get migraine attacks, you could actually get a stroke. And I didn't even know that. And when I was younger, you know, I did tell them, like, they tell you one of those specific little check marks is, do you get migraines? And if you check that, they make sure that they give you the lowest dose. So it also didn't have that many side effects. You were not likely to gain weight or anything like that. So I loved it. I loved the fact that it was super low on dosage. So it was doing the job. And on top of that, I wasn't getting crazy side effects. I was on it for about 4 or 5 months. And I started realizing that it was like messing with my period. Some days I would get them every 29 days. Some days I would get every 30 days. Sometimes I would get them for only 2 days. Some days I would bleed for 7 days, you know? So I was like, I thought periods were supposed to get regulated with this type of birth control. What ended up being that I was doing like the complete opposite to my body. So then I went to my 6 month, I was after 6 months, they had given me 3 packs, so finally I had to go and do my renewal. They tell me that they canceled my freaking birth control because it was giving girls blood clots. So I was like, oh my god, I was like, what the fuck? But that's very common. They always say that you could get blood clots. It's like the main side effect. So then they changed the dosage, so then they changed my dosage. And when they changed it, I started getting horrible headaches, like the worst headaches you could even imagine, guys. Like I felt like I was dying, okay? And I was like, I can't take these anymore. I was like, I can't, like, this is just not worth it. Like, I'm in pain, you know what I mean? My dry ass tummy. I was like, I'm in severe pain. So when that happened, I ended up just being like, you know what, I'm not gonna go on birth control anymore. I'm just gonna like be in pain. Like I'd rather have cramps than the headaches that I was experiencing. So a couple of years passed, and obviously like I was a little older and I started having sex, and the first thing you think about is you don't want to get pregnant, you know? And I didn't want to get pregnant. I wasn't trying to get pregnant or anything like that. But birth control should not only be to birth control is not a form of protection either. Like if you're having sex, just because you're on birth control doesn't mean you can't catch like an STD or something, you know? So if there's young girls watching this, like you always have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And if you are with a boyfriend, like don't be afraid to ask, like, you know, to go get checked and make sure that there's nothing going on, because I feel like sex is always such a touchy subject between partners, but you guys always have to have a very open relationship like that. So birth control to me was never like, oh, I can finally have sex and not use anything. Like, no, like birth control was literally because I was so young and I didn't want to like get pregnant, you know. I wasn't trying to get pregnant at 17, 18 years old. Like, that wasn't what I was trying to do. So that's where I started figuring out about my cycle. I was like, you know what, I'm somebody who has the benefit to be able to get a period every month, and why not do it, you know? Why not actually track it? So it worked for me. I have been having sex since I was 17, 18 years old. I was 17 turning 18, and like, I am 27 and I just gave birth, you know what I mean? It's not that I was over there like just doing everybody and their moms, you know, like, no, like I had a boyfriend and then I had Elisa's, and you know, sex was always something that happened. So I always was smart about making sure, and if it worked for me, like, you can do it too, you know. But that's the thing that I'm not gonna say, like, I don't want you guys to take my advice and be like, well, it will work for Blanca, like it's gonna work for me, and then you guys end up getting pregnant and like blame me, you know. Like, you guys have to really know what you're doing, like do your research and really like calculate your period and all that stuff, you know. So then finally I turned, I want to say 25, okay, and I was tired of tracking my period. Finally at 25, I was like, I need to just do something else. I'm tired of checking my period. You know, it sucks sometimes if you're like in the moment and you're trying to go and get some, and it happens to be that you're ovulating, and then now you're like, great, I have to go use condom, or I gotta go. And I'm talking about, this is like with my boyfriend that I've been with for a long time, okay? Like, girls, if you just met this guy, make sure that you're using protection. But I was like, great, like now you gotta go do all that, and it's like, or you can't even get near me because like I'm on my period. I mean, I'm ovulating, like don't touch me because I'm gonna get freaking knocked up, you know. So I was like, maybe I should just try birth control and give it one more chance. So I go to Kaiser, I, you know, get some birth control, I get on the pill, and I start taking the pill, and this one was like Orthotex or something like that. I'm gonna try to figure it out. I'm gonna write the names of the pills that I was actually taking. So this was around the time when Ulises went to I think he went to Miami. I think he went to Miami or Las Vegas or something. Mind you guys, okay, I have been taking the birth control for about 5 days. I can be a little crazy, but I'm not celosa at all. Like, my husband, he's such a good man, and he never gives me a reason to celarlo. You know, there's girls that like send him DMs sometimes, and like he'll tell me and he'll show me and he'll be like he never tries to reply or anything like that. Like, he'll reply to people when they ask him questions. Like, my husband, he loves work so much, and he has such a passion for what he does that he's so distracted with everything else that I honestly feel like Ulises loves me so much that he would never do anything to disappoint me, you know what I mean? So I've always had that trust in him, and that's something that we've always had for each other. And I let him do, you know, what he pleases. Like, if he wants to go somewhere with his friends, he can go with his friends. He just chooses not to go out, and most of the time when he does go out with his friends, we go out together because we have the same friends. But there's been times, you know, when he's had his little trips and stuff, and I was taking birth control for 5 days, and tell me why I was so fucking crazy. Like, I was going through like an emotional breakdown, okay? Something that I have never experienced in my entire life. I felt so insecure. I felt like my husband was cheating on me. My boyfriend, he was my boyfriend at the time, I felt like he was cheating on me, like he was doing something, like he didn't love me. Like, I kept telling that in my head, like, Lisa doesn't love you, he doesn't care about you, he's probably over there cheating on you, he's not answering your call, why didn't he answer you? I was going fucking crazy, guys. Like, I was going crazy, like mental. I didn't even recognize myself. I didn't know who that person was, because I'm not like that. I'm not a celosa. I'm not somebody who, me and Ulises, when he goes out, I don't even talk to him most of the time. If he's on a business trip or if he's out with his friends, we don't text each other. Like, I let him have his space. He'll text me when he gets a chance, and that's it. I'm not there like, what are you doing? Why didn't you text me back? Oh, you didn't call me? Like, I have never been that girl. I was being that girl. I was so fucking crazy. And then I was like, I didn't know what was happening. So then he came back. I was still an emotional wreck. I thought he fucking cheated on me, and I was like, and why? I don't even know why. Like, I don't even know why I thought that. But in my head, I thought it. And then he was like, what is wrong with you, Blanca? Like, you're being so weird. I was like, well, what were you doing? Like, why did you even go? Why didn't you take me with you? Why didn't you fucking take me with you? Really? Like, that is never even some shit I would say. You know what I mean? Like, I was losing myself. So then at this point, like, we weren't living together or anything. So, or maybe I wasn't 25, maybe I was like 24, because we weren't living together. So he picks me up and we were seeing each other, and then we got it in, right? So then tell me why in the middle of us getting it in, I started crying. Like, I was crying, like bawling. Like bawling. Like, I cried like somebody died. Like, like I was crying, and I don't cry. Ulysses can count the times that he's seen me cry. Like, I cry by myself. I cry when nobody's watching, okay? Like, I was bawling, and he was like, are you okay? Like, did I do something wrong? I was like, you don't love me. Okay, Ulysses didn't do shit to me. Ulysses is looking at me like he looks scared. He legitimately looks fucking scared. He's like, what did I do, Blanca? Like, talk to me. Are you okay? I was like, I just don't feel like, I felt ugly. Like, I felt so, like, I felt fat, and I was like 120 pounds, okay? I felt fat. I would just look at myself and I'm like, what are you? Like, you're fucking ugly. I was so hard on myself. So then I finally did some research, and I found an article of this girl. If I find this, I'm gonna link everything below, where she was talking about the same birth control that I was taking, and it was making her go fucking crazy. Like, everything that she was going through, I was going through. And that pill was making all of these girls go through this. And I feel like the reason why I wanted to make this video, it wasn't to be funny or like to, you know, talk to you guys about this. Like, even though it happened, it's something that people don't really talk about. They don't talk about those side effects and the emotional and how draining it is, you know, to be on a pill or be on birth control. Like, it's a very, very hormonal medication. And I've always been somebody who doesn't like to take, although I'm probably gonna get called out because I drink, because people are gonna be like, well, you intoxicate your body all the time. But I don't like somebody who likes to intoxicate my body with pills. I've never been one to take Advil. I don't even take pills to like for my headache, you know what I mean? Like, I don't take medication. I don't like taking medicine. I've never smoked weed. And it wasn't because like, oh my god, I fucking hate weed, it's so disgusting. It was just, I never wanted to like smoke a cigarette or, you know, put weed in my system or anything like that. And like I said, it's gonna sound contradicting because people are gonna be like, but you drink alcohol and that's 100 million times worse, blah 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 blah. I was raised like a fucking Mexican, okay? You know what I mean? Like, in Mexico, people, like, kids drink when they're like 12 years old. I obviously didn't drink when I was 12 years old, okay? But I'm saying, like, in Mexican culture, like, it's normal for you to be a drinker. Like, I feel like that's always something that's been like, that's like normal, you know what I mean? But then you think of drogas and it's like, those other drugs are like what we consider like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, they're so harmful. Mind you guys, I'm not trying to sit here and educate you guys or for you guys to be like I'm any better, because I don't like to intoxicate myself, but I just don't like somebody to take, I don't like to take like reoccurring pills like that, you know what I mean? So I decided to do the birth control because I didn't want to get pregnant. I didn't want to have a baby. I was so young, and I feel like there's a lot of young girls who they get on birth control because, you know, you want to be able to like cuchi planchar and not get knocked up. You know, not everybody goes and has sex to have a baby. But on top of that, I also have friends who have been on birth control, and you know, now they can't get pregnant because they've been on birth control since they were 14 or 15 years old, and now they're struggling to get pregnant. And like I said, I just feel like a pill like this is just so harmful sometimes to your mental state, like your mental health, that I feel like that's even more important sometimes than like you just taking the pill itself and it making you get a headache or something, you know? Like your mental health is so important, and you can be so lost, and I feel like people don't really talk about how crazy people feel when they're on birth control. And if you guys have experienced anything like that, please let me know, because I know I'm not the only one that's fucking crazy that has experienced crying and feeling low about yourself and going through anxiety and going through depression because of a pill. This happened to me for 5 days, okay? As soon as I got off the birth control, I went back to myself. And I looked at Ulises and I was like, I don't know what the fuck was going on with me. I don't know what was wrong. I don't know who I was, and I don't know how this happened. And he was like, damn, babe, like, you know what, like, for what? Like, why are you even putting yourself through this? And I was right. That's why I personally decided to track it. I want you guys to take some information and just really do your research before you decide to get on birth control, because there's a lot of stuff that people really don't talk about. I always get questions all the time like, why don't you take it? And honestly, that's the reason. I've never been affected by it, but I have done a lot of research. I have actually like searched up, talked to friends, talked to people, and I just don't want to put myself through that emotional distress. And like I said, if you experienced it, you know the feeling that I'm talking about. And I'm talking about this feeling of desperation where you just don't, you're just depressed. Like you are emotionally depressed over you taking this pill, okay? Like this pill is making you go fucking crazy. And honestly, it was such a scary experience for me. And like I said, you know, I'm not anybody to say like don't take birth control or take it. Like you guys are all welcome to experience things for yourself and, you know, do what you guys have to do, because I know that there's a lot of people. My niece is on birth control, and you know, she tells me she's emotional, but it just depends how you deal with it. And if this is going to help her to regulate her period, to hopefully one day get pregnant, because you know, it can be a hit and miss. Some people say that you can't get pregnant, some people use the birth control to get pregnant. So you know, I want everybody to keep an open mind though about the whole situation, and really talk about those things that people don't mention. And it's the emotional distress that people go through. And honestly, like I experienced it firsthand for myself. My first time with birth control was great, and then the second time, I swear, like I didn't even know who I was. Like I lost myself in this pill for 5 freaking days, okay? It hit me that quick. So when I stopped taking it, you know, it went back to me, and I was like, I will never put myself through this again. I would never put my body through this. I'd rather just not take birth control at all. I gave birth to Max, and I'm still not on birth control. I don't take anything to protect myself. I still track my period, but Ulises and I would not mind if we actually got pregnant again. I told you guys that I want to have my babies back to back. So that is something that I've always also kept, you know, an open mind of. As soon as we decide that we don't want any children anymore, then we will take obviously extra measures to make sure that we like prevent that. But I would love to hear your guys' experiences with birth control, because I know everybody has their own experience with it. And honestly, like, please leave me a comment down below and let me know what you guys have personally experienced. If your experience has been great, thank you, let me know. Like, put some positivity down there. If your experience with both birth control has been completely hell, please let me know too, because I would literally love to read everybody's stories, and it will also be helpful for everybody reading the comments to just kind of get an input of everybody's perspective. But I wanted to kind of tell you guys why I don't like birth control, what happened, what my experience was. I know that I made it a little bit more like funny, but it wasn't. It was a really scary experience, and honestly, like, I would never put myself through that again, because those 5 days honestly felt like the most miserable days of my life. I would never want any woman to feel the way that I felt those 5 days. And now that I'm on birth control, I'm fucking cute. Like, I love me. You know what I mean? But this is gonna be the end of today's video. I didn't even finish my food. It's still sitting there, but These mukbangs are hard to like talk and eat at the same time. But if you guys like these videos, let me know. We can do definitely more mukbangs, more topics. Let me know down below as well. I kind of want to do this like a routine, like maybe like once a week I'll do a mukbang video with like a cool topic, and we'll do like some chismear, you know. But I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Love you guys.
On a high ever since we met, I just smile so wide when I look in your eyes. Yeah, I cannot control what's happening.